Entrepreneurs, I'm continuing down the road of talking about minorities and money. Of course, I'm going to talk about minorities, and I don't mean talk about, but I do mean address and to discuss the lack of conversation about money in our community, in our homes, which is where it begins. As we go into the entrepreneurial spirit, as we continue to build wealth and build our communities, it has to start with the family. So if you have a child who you do not discuss money with and they start to learn by trial and error, while there's a lot that could be said about learning that way, there is also the downfall of it, because that means that not only does that child, that African American child, that minority child, start behind, they start extremely behind. There's already limited resources sometimes that we are privy to. There is already things that we need to know that we're behind in finding out. And these conversations have been going on in other homes for centuries, for years. So, for minorities to get comfortable with talking about money around the table and with their children, it is so crucial. And now we've got to amp it up because we do not want to leave our children behind. There's nothing worse than leaving a lot of money to somebody who doesn't appreciate it or even understand the struggle it took to get, nor how to maintain and manage it. So it is crucial that, number one, we start talking about money in the house, that our children are very much aware about how much things cost, what it means when they hear the words inflation, what it means when they hear recession, what it means when they hear that the interest rate is up or the interest rate is down, or that it's a buyer's market or a seller's market. There are some things that we cannot afford for them to leave the house without knowing. They need to know, and they need to understand. They need to understand what a credit score looks like. They need to be able to buy their first car without having a cosigner, because they've had credit cards, they maintain them, and they have an idea. It is great if they can make their mistakes while they are home before they get out and get out of the house. There are a lot of things that we can do. So, like I said, in my house, we do boot camp and we talk about credit. One of the things that my husband and I did as soon as we knew about it, we added our children to our credit cards. They do not get the credit cards. They are an authorized buyer, but we hold the card. All it does is give them access, and it gives them a credit rating based on just having access and based on just being around. With that credit rating, they don't start in the hole or start all the way at zero, but they are gaining good credit as they grow up. And of course, like I said, we do not give them the actual card. When both of my sons became of age, I encouraged them and walked them through getting a credit card, and I am teaching them, and I say am because I have a age gap in my sons. So there's one that has learned and understand. He's had a credit card for a while. He was able to buy his first car without a cosigner because he had two credit cards. So everything, that first car is all in his name. There's nobody else attached to it. And I'm teaching my youngest son as well. We have to get into the conversations about money. We've got to talk about lending. We have to talk about good debt versus bad debt, because not all debt is bad. But it all begins with breaking the cycle of being hush hush about money. Anything that we're not educated on, anything that we don't know about money, is something we're depending on somebody else to teach us. And while life is a good teacher, it doesn't always teach the lessons with love and with care and with the possibility of redemption. And what is hard to learn a lesson or to appreciate a lesson when you cannot bounce back from it after you learn the lesson. So remember, as we talk about money management, go home, talk about law, make sure that your children understand about money. Make sure they understand about how much things cost. You know how running errands as a child taught us about things, it taught us about money. Mama would give us so much, and you had to make decisions in the store to make sure you didn't go over. And then you have to come home and say, Mama, it costs a little bit more, or it costs this, or it costs that. Those are things now that our children are not necessarily doing. I know for me, especially during COVID, I started picking everything up. So now I have them to order. I set the order, how much do you pay attention? How much do you know the things that we use and how much it costs? Because it's funny how children will want something when it's your money, and as soon as they're doing it out of their money, their entire level of taste changes because they realize they have to pay for it. These are lessons that our men and our women need to learn now. So, minorities, African Americans, black people, we've got to talk about money. The first lesson should come from us so that they fully understand and so that you know that they are learning about financial management in love. It's been your girl, the Queen Bee, saying let's break some of these generational curses, especially the one of poverty. Bye bye.